there is two main problems that we see here in our repair shop for valves. The first one is the longevity of the internal parts. I just put my hand in and I find the main problem of the internal of the valve. The spindle is very weak. This design is very, very weak, and it's very common to find broken parts like this. You find they are bent, they are broken. This is a very good example. When you put too much force on the spindle, it just becomes round. And this could potentially be a dangerous situation. And also, as a business, this is money. Look, this is money wasted.
Yes.
When we see the design differences between the NAUTEC valves and the original, the normal traditional design, it is very clear to see the mechanical strength. The way these two parts interface, this one has a very clear weak spot here.
Yeah.
As you saw in the parts. This one, because it's a hexagon, it is extremely strong, much stronger. You can apply almost 80% more torque to this system than to this system. Sometimes the spindle breaks, sometimes the spade in the seat breaks. This part's breaking is a result also of excessive wear on the material in the seat. Generally, the seats have a nylon sealing material that after 800 to 1,000 cycles, it will completely wear out, and then you start getting a metal on metal impact. When it's metal on metal, you have to start applying a lot of force on the spindle, and that breaks it. So the real culprit for this is the material. And also NAUTEC seems to have solved that problem. So they solved two of my biggest problems. A very weak spindle, but also they put PEEK as a sealing material for lower pressures, and for high pressure they use a very special plastic that doesn't seem to have any memory. You can put a lot of force, you release, and there is no wear. That, working together with the strength of the design, you probably have 2,000 cycles in the valve without having to replace the internals. So I think that is a very clear advantage to the design and to the brand, because it directly affects your pocket. And another one of the main reasons why I have to install new valves on tanks over the years is that the DIN connection sometimes gets damaged. The tank can fall down from a pickup truck. You put one tank in, you push it with another tank, and you bend the DIN. Here I have some examples of what happens when you do this. You see the DIN connection gets bent. These examples that I have are the worst that I have ever had. Normally the damage is not this bad, but even if you bend it a little bit, less than a millimeter, you cannot connect the regulator anymore, and the whole valve is destroyed. I remember this valve fell from a pickup truck, from a very high pickup truck, and when it hit the floor, it still has the floor imprinted in the metal. And I would say 80% of the valves that I have to change, that I have to replace the whole valve, is because of this type of damage. And also I want to measure the difference. We can see that the NAUTEC valve, we have 5 millimeters. Of those 5 millimeters, 4 millimeters is solid brass. And we have 4 millimeters of solid brass all the way around. In other designs, we have a total also of 5 millimeters, but we only have around 3 millimeters of solid metal. And that is only in the top. If we go to the sides, we have 2 millimeters of solid metal on the sides. So the amount of material plus the softness of the brass makes this a very common problem. What I have seen working with the NAUTEC valves is that we have a very thick connection all the way around. Also, when I have seen NAUTEC valves getting hit, the damage seems to be very small. This seems to be a very hard brass, which translates to less damage, less possibility, and also the position of the connection. If this valve falls down, the first thing that hits the ground is the top. If you push this valve or you hit it with another tank, also the first thing that has an impact is the top of the valve, not your connection. And also, when you're diving, your regulator is protected. If you hit the ceiling of a cave, if you hit some metal in a wreck or the reef, the regulator is protected by the top of the valve. In this design, the first thing that hits the floor is the top of the valve. The top of the valve gets bent, and then you have to replace a whole valve. Also, when you're diving, when you're using a side mount valve, but with this design, the regulator is also prone to hitting the cave, hitting the floor, and you can have damage in both situations, which I feel the NAUTEC design really addresses that issue and protects the vital parts, the parts that are keeping you alive are very well protected.